Hey, what's going on, everyone? Axel here. Today I want to talk about gaming as you age, like as you progress in life, and how that changes what you play and what you enjoy. I wanted to just talk about my experiences on this topic and then go into some of the games I really enjoyed back in the day and some of the games that I really enjoy now, and some games that I used to love back in the day but I don't play now, and some types of games that I play now that I wouldn't want to play when I was a kid. So let's get started with the first and most obvious thing. When you're a kid, when you're in college or high school or middle school or younger, you have a lot more time than when you're an adult. And that's something I've learned as I've gotten out of college, and I've been working now several years, out of college. And it's kind of an adjustment because when you're a kid, you've got all the time in the world. Yeah, you got to go to school and stuff, but you generally have more time off. Like you have Christmas breaks, you've got spring breaks, you've got summer breaks. At least if you live in the US, you have summer breaks. But when you're an adult, you have more time. You also have more money, but you don't have as much time. And conversely, when you're a kid, you have no money, but you have all the time in the world. So while it's kind of a tragic coincidence there, because when you're a kid, you've got all the time to play all these great games, but you don't have the money to buy any of it. And then when you're an adult, you've got all the money. Assuming you have a job, you have plenty of money to buy your games, but you don't have the time to play a lot of them. So as a result, you tend to gravitate more towards games that aren't as in depth. So I want to talk about, let's go ahead and get into some of the games, and I picked out a few games that specifically I thought would be interesting to talk about in this video on this topic. When I was a kid, I really loved RPGs. I really like games like Super Mario RPG Legend of the Seven Stars, and games such as this, Final Fantasy VII. One of my favorite games of all time, and I beat this game probably about 3 or 4 times all the way through. I played the crap out of this game. I've played all the side stuff. I've raised all the chocobos. I've done all that stuff, beaten all all the weapons. I've done everything you can do in this game, and I loved it. And this is the type of game in RPG where you can really get into it. You can immerse yourself in the experience and just sink tons of time into. This is the type of game that you can spend just weeks and weeks and weeks and weeks and weeks and just play the crap out of it. Unfortunately, that's not something I can play today. Like, I haven't played a Final Fantasy game since Final Fantasy VIII, just because I really haven't had as much time. Now, I was still a kid when Final Fantasy 9 and 10 came out, but so that's not all to blame, but generally I've gone away from these types of games. Another game, actually, it's a game I've wanted to play. I want to talk about this game because this is a game I've wanted to play for a long time, and I've just never gotten around to it because of time. As an adult, I just have not had the time, and that is Skyrim, Elder Scrolls Skyrim, which has been out for like around 5 years now. It's one of the best games of all time. It's definitely one of the best rated games in the past 10 years. I got this version recently because this came out for the Xbox One, and it has enhanced graphics and it has mod capabilities. So there's endless stuff to do, and I've heard of people getting this type of game you get addicted to. It's even more so than Final Fantasy VII. I've heard you get addicted to, and you just play the crap out of it. And I've known people who spend hundreds and hundreds of hours in this game, and I recently bought it, and I'm gonna play it a little bit tonight because I have time. But I have played this game maybe like 5 or 10 hours, and I've enjoyed it. But it's the type of game that I just can't play much these days because I just don't have the time to sit down and immerse myself in this kind of experience. I want to try to make time for this, but I'm not going to get immersed in this game like I got immersed into Final Fantasy VII when I was a kid. Because this game, I'll play it, and I've enjoyed it so far, and I think I'll get through the storyline, but after that, I'll probably quit, and I probably won't play all the side missions and such. Now, I like the game. It's a good game, but it's a really good game, but it's just, I don't have the time. and I don't want to just spend the next 3 years on this game and only play this game in all the gaming time I do have. Because there's a lot of other games that I'm really interested in playing coming out, and I want to use some of my time for them. The next game and the last game in this category of games I would have loved as a kid, but I don't have time to play as an adult, and this is the most extreme example of a game that I can't play, and that's Legacy of the Wizard for the NES. And bear with me, I know the cartridge is in terrible shape. I got it at a flea market, and I got reduced price because of this, but the game still works just fine. I have played this game some, but this is like one of these super old school, super hardcore dungeon crawlers that you could spend without, if you didn't use a walkthrough, you could spend like literally years probably on this game trying to figure it all out if you wanted to try to figure out the dungeon yourself, because this game is so cool in concept, because it's one giant huge dungeon, and there's like 5 different characters who can all access, who have to use their different abilities to complete different parts of the dungeon, but it's a gigantic, huge dungeon that is super confusing. It's a huge maze, and it would take you a long time to try to figure it out if you did not have a walkthrough. Now, I have played this some, and I want to get through it, but I'm using a walkthrough, of course, and a map. I printed off the internet because without that, I would never have time to play this game. But that said, I've not even hardly dipped my toes into this game because I just haven't had time, and I've owned this game for probably a couple years now. But as a kid, I would have loved this game, and I want to make time for it. I still want to play it, but it's going to be tough, and generally this is the type of game I just can't afford to play these days. I want to try to play this one specifically, but if I was a kid still and I still had tons of time, I would have played this game already. I would have beaten it, and I would be playing a lot of other games. I would have moved on from this. So yeah, let's get on now to some games that I do play. Now, here's the type of games that as an adult I transitioned to, because I don't have to invest a lot of time. I don't have to really get immersed in a story. I can just pick up and play these games, and that's the biggest change I've seen since I've been an adult, is I've transitioned from these like RPGs, these heavy time sink type of games, into these simple pick up and play games with a lot of replay value. So the best example for that for me is Super Smash Brothers for the Wii U. And this is one of my favorite games of all time now, and it's just a game that, it's a fighting game. It has like unlimited replayability, but it doesn't have any super, like, any kind of depth to it. I mean, it has a lot of competitive depth into it and strategy, but it doesn't have like a story to it. It doesn't have anything that you have to kind of immerse yourself in just whenever you have time. When I have 10 minutes to spare, which is, to me, is typically, when I game these days, it's typically I have like 20 minutes here and there, so I can pick this game up and just fight a few matches online and have some fun, and then put it down whenever I want. It's just very pick up and play, very easy. And another game like that, which is similar, is Mario Kart 8, also on the Wii U. And as you've seen, you might see a trend that I have actually favored Nintendo more as I've gotten older, simply because they tend to create and cater more of their highly rated franchises towards this pick up and play model. So Mario Kart 8, same deal. I might not only have 10-20 minutes when I get back from work. Maybe I have a lot of stuff to do. I have to run errands after work, and I might only have 30 minutes or so when I get back before I have to start getting ready for the next day, to where I can actually game a little bit. So this type of game is perfect. I sit down, I play a race or two online, and I turn my Wii U off, and I just can, I go to sleep, do whatever else I need to do. Finally, and this is probably the best example, although I've gotten into other similar types of games as well, as a game like Battlefield 1, which is just a shooter, same deal as these other ones. If I want to actually pick up and play a game online, I can just play this simple. It's just a shooter. Of course there's depth and strategy to it, but there's no time sink investment in this type of game. And I actually am actually preferring the Call of Duty games more when I want to play a shooter. I'm actually not too happy with this game in particular, and I think I'm going to return it because the loading times are terrible, and a lot of my gaming time, when I only have 20 minutes to play, is a lot of it's being taken up by me entering operations mode and sitting there for like 5 minutes while the game's loading. So guys, I hope you enjoyed this video. As you can tell, I've made the transition from more of these hardcore games to these more simple pick up and play games. And in addition, my gaming is also a lot of my times now being taken up by making these types of videos to my YouTube channel, because in addition to just transitioning from these time sink games into your simpler pick up and play games, as you get older, you also get more of a sense of your mortality, right? And you want to do things that that I guess you get more meaning and satisfaction out of. I love gaming, but at the same time, I want to do a lot of other things in my life and accomplish certain goals, go after goals. And when you're a kid, it feels like you have all the time in the world, but the older you get, the more pressure you have to kind of go after your bucket list and achieve the things you want to achieve. And one of the things I want to achieve is really creating an awesome YouTube channel. So I actually have probably just as much fun, if not more fun, making videos like this than I do actually gaming. So guys, that's it for this video. I hope you enjoyed, and please comment below and let me know what you think. Do you have games that you liked when you were a kid that you can't play now, or maybe you're still a kid? Well, you know, what do you think about this? Do you think you'll still play the same games in the future? I'd like to hear it. So again, hope you guys enjoyed this video. That's all for today. I'll see you all next time. You all have a good one. Take care.